What's up, everybody, and welcome to Binge It or Skip It on the MovieDash podcast by Lawyat.net, a podcast where we review a TV series and recommend you to either check it out or skip it altogether. So today we are going to be reviewing The Morning Show on Apple TV.
Cue her.
Good morning. I'm bringing you some sad and upsetting news. And while I don't know the details of the allegations,
She's throwing me under the bus.
Mitch Kessler, my co-host and partner of 15 years, was fired today.
So basically, The Morning Show is it's about this popular news and talk show that takes place in the morning. It's this huge network television, like one of the biggest news shows in the country, basically in the US. And it's thrown into chaos right from the opening scene when its co-anchor Mitch Kessler, played by Steve Carell, is fired amid allegations of sexual harassment. Meanwhile, a sequence of events leads a relatively unknown journalist, Bradley Jackson, played by Reese Witherspoon, with a strong voice to join the morning show fold. And basically, Mitch's co-host in this show is Alex Levi, played by Jennifer Aniston. So, Patrick, both of us have watched the first 5 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I think it's one of the most important TV series to be watched today.
Yeah. Man, yeah. Seriously, honestly, I was just telling you off camera, heading into this, I had no idea what this show was about. So all I knew was, I didn't read anything about it. I've heard about it through, I've seen it through my peripheral vision. It stars Steve Carell and Jennifer Aniston, and I thought it was a sitcom. Yeah, I thought it was a sitcom or something. And then yesterday night, I binged all 5 episodes, and it's definitely not a sitcom in any shape or form. It's a serious drama of something in the vein of the newsroom, Aaron Sorkin's newsroom, would
Correct.
you say?
Yes.
But it's, of course, without Aaron Sorkin's style and his dialogue and all that, but it's also more current.
Yeah.
Basically, it shows us what happens in this office and how they deal with it and how their culture is after this big bomb drops. And this series is set in the present, so 2 years after the whole real world Me Too problems with Harvey Weinstein and all that. I mean, Me Too movement, after the whole Harvey Weinstein scandal and all of that.
Right.
So both of us really liked it. I really like it, you like it, and I agree that it is absolutely important for us to watch it. But what do you think makes this, what is it that you like about it?
I love this film because it doesn't portray anyone as completely bad. I mean, it's very balanced in terms of how it tells the story.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you have this Me Too movement or this sexual harassment misconduct.
Yes. But what makes this show really, really, really engaging is, like you said, it shows different perspectives of different characters.
Right.
And it isn't afraid to dive into the complexity of this situation. Right? So let's go through some of these perspectives. It would have been easy, I think, or it would have been less interesting if this show if Mitch Kessler, which is again Steve Carell, the co-host that gets fired, is a rapist. Because then the conversation is black and white. He's a rapist, he's bad, he should go to jail, that's it. But he isn't. What he has done here, basically, is, so what the show plays with, basically, is the power dynamics between the people. So, Mitch Kessler, which is the alleged perpetrator, basically keeps insisting that he's innocent, right? He keeps saying, I didn't rape anyone. Yeah, I screwed around with a couple of PAs, but how is that a crime? It was consensual. Then he even says, men, we have always used our power in this sort of manner. Since why is it suddenly a crime? It's consensual. He keeps bringing up that point, which is correct. His point is it isn't rape. But the point is that, yes, although it isn't rape, it's still sexual misconduct because you're this victim's boss, right? And there's a power inequality there.
But he's not the boss. He's just the star of the show.
Right.
And because I think in the culture of the
Yes.
the corporate world there was that the stars are protected, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. No, the one scene that I love is when he had a conversation with the director.
Yes.
And that shows a clear difference between that guy being the predator to him being kind of like, the girls that he has is basically consensual anyway.
Yes.
I think it's because of his charm. How he charms the women
Yes.
into feeling comfortable with him.
That's the argument he keeps bringing up. And I love that scene also. It's basically these two people, like him and his friend, which is this director. They play tennis, then they start talking about it. And at first, they seem to be on the same page. And this is where the show is really good in exploring the gray areas or the supposed gray areas, right? Because, so they are talking about, basically the whole how Me Too is like screwing up the lives of a lot of guys suddenly, like guys have always, what's wrong with, sleeping with your interns and your PAs and all that if, it's consensual and all of us are adults and all these kind of things. And then the conversation slowly shifts and like you can see that because Steve Carell's character is listening to this other character and because Steve Carell is also a journalist, right? And he's from an outside perspective. He's listening to what this character is saying and being like, no, but I'm not like you. You are an actual predator. And then the guy says, what about you? And he's like, I'm not you. And I think that's interesting because that is how a lot of people are looking at Steve Carell's character as well. They're like, no, you are a predator. And Steve Carell's like, no, I'm not. But then he's telling another guy like, so they are all making cases for like what exactly constitutes as a predator.
Correct.
Like this series also shows you the perspective of all these network executives. And these network executives don't have, at least the ones in this show, they don't have, and a lot of multi-millionaires, billionaires, they're kind of like this, in the sense that they don't have a moral stand on the situation at all. Or at least their moral stand is so insignificant because they are living in a different planet that for them, none of this matters. What matters is the money. So yes, they did the good thing and to fire Mitch immediately when this news broke out.
Right.
But they didn't fire Mitch because they are deeply hurt by or wounded that, these things happened in their company and all that. In fact, they would have preferred if they don't fire Mitch because he's their star. They fired Mitch because that's a good PR move.
Okay.
So they're always, you see these executives who, despite this serious case, they are just thinking in terms of what is good PR.
Right.
How am I going to salvage the show and make more money despite this problem that happened?
Yes.
Right.
I mean, and okay, I think the series plays on two levels. One is basically about the whole sexual harassment, the whole women empowerment thing,
Yes.
and all that. The other level is the corporate power play.
Yes.
Yeah, which I thought was very interesting between the CEO
Yes.
and that Corey's character.
Yes,
Both of
correct.
them just hate each other.
Yeah, exactly. And it is, so yeah, there's a lot of pieces here. And what the show is they're showing you, although there's a lot of themes and all, they're exploring these themes through the story that is, how does this top news platform in America deal with the situation, deal
Correct.
with the aftermath.
Correct.
So you also see, let's go back to Jennifer Aniston's character. Because I think there's something I think it's an interesting role Alex Levi, she plays. Because her character basically knows or knew all this while, and they don't shy away from that. She knew all this while, or at least she says she knew in theory about what Mitchell has been doing. I mean, Mitch Kessler, what Mitch Kessler has been doing all this while. She knew that he, sleeps around and he flirts around with all their subordinates or their PAs and all these things. She knew. In fact, she herself has slept with him, but that's a different situation because both of them are on the equal level playing field.
Okay.
But they are still friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's an interesting, even despite after despite knowing and despite him getting fired, they are still friends. She doesn't do it in the public because she's worried she's going to get ostracized for it. Yeah. But she does at night go and meet Mitch and confide in him and talk to him and all that.
Right. I mean, it's one of those TV shows now to me that is it works on a level of self-reflecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's amazing how the show does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's because of the whole balancing acts that the show is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other character that I really love is the black lady that's the producer for Bradley Jackson now.
Yes, correct.
And how it's eating her.
Yeah. It's
because
great.
she slept with
Yes.
Mitch, and how it's eating her. I think for her is that it's not so much of the bad thing, whatever, it's the hypocrisy that goes behind it all.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I love about this series is that it gives a perspective to the alleged perpetrator also, right? So because Mitch Kessler has a lot of screen time, he basically voices everything that he wants to voice.
Whenever he's on, he's actually not on all the time.
Yes.
Yeah, but whenever he's on, he's on the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is because I can feel it. I can just feel like some people in the audience, just some people agreeing with him and saying, this, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Like, I'm 100% on board. Like, he is I agree with him, completely, it's not rape, what? So what's wrong? What's wrong if I want to sleep with my intern? I can feel certain people in the audience just wholeheartedly agreeing with him. And I think that is what they want to evoke.
Right.
This feeling of, and then they want to make you feel uncomfortable also. They want to make everybody watching feel uncomfortable because what they are basically saying, or so far in this 5 episodes, not what they're basically exploring is that it doesn't matter if you didn't rape her. It doesn't matter if it's consensual. It doesn't matter. All these things don't matter in the sense that because as long as there is a power imbalance, it can be considered sexual misconduct. Because yes, let's say you flirt with your intern and she flirts back with you. And this is not just a guy thing. This is both genders. So the superior can be a woman as well. You flirt with her and she flirts back. But what if she's only flirting back because she feels that if she doesn't do it, then you're going to see her as she's not, I'm not going to promote her. I'm not going to promote her. I'm not going to, because she doesn't want to be my, there's this whole, as long as you are the person below, and especially if you look up to someone, there's always that worry. I think, especially you're going to worry that if you don't play along with your boss, you're not going to get this promotion or whatever it is. Not everybody feels that way, but that's why they say, when, it's as cheesy as it sounds, with great power comes great responsibility. You don't abuse that. You don't cross that line. Before we wrap up, we have to talk about one thing, and that is, we haven't touched on her yet, and that's Reese Witherspoon's character.
Oh, yes.
So basically that wild card, or like this extra fire is basically because now Mitch Kessler has gotten fired, so they're looking for this new replacement for him and all that sort of thing. Basically, they want to freshen up their show, right? And in comes Jackson Bradley, who's Reese Witherspoon's character, who's this kind of nobody journalist, but she has a very strong voice.
Yes.
Very strong voice. And she is she's not like a lot of these people who are in this working for the morning show, where they are very corporate minded, in the sense that a lot of what they are thinking is not what is right or what I believe in, but what can I do to protect the brand.
Yes.
Whereas she is coming in as an outsider, and she is hungry, and she is all fired up, and she just wants to get the truth, regardless of who she's talking, regardless of even when she's talking about herself, you know? And so like she basically comes in and she just shakes the whole landscape of their company.
And Corey loves it.
Yeah, and this one exec who is just a total wildcard, he loves it. You don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
You don't know whether he's trying to just, you know, like set fire to the whole thing, or he's some sort of genius or something. You don't know, and that's what makes this show very interesting. So basically, I guess what both of us are trying to say is skip it or binge it. Both of us say binge it.
Oh, binge it.
Definitely check it out. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's worth every minute. Like honestly, like I didn't know what I was getting into, because like I said, I thought it was a sitcom. It's a serious drama, but it's every minute is so good. It's so important. It's something we all should watch.
Yeah.
And it's not just a message heavy smacking you on the head. It's very entertaining.
So should we continue watching For All Mankind and see?
Okay. So those are basically our thoughts. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. Also, if you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify and YouTube. We're still working on getting it up on some of the other platforms, but definitely subscribe to us on Spotify and YouTube. And if you'd like to talk to us directly about the show or just anything regarding cinema, TV, everything like that, you can find Patrick at what your social media platforms?
Facebook, Patrick Lim or Pat Lim. Instagram, LimPatrick69.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at @talksmovies. Until next time, bye-bye.